This is an age of disruption, of profound revolutionary change.
What we're really asking ministers is to empower the ambassadors.
The only thing that you really push forth is the truth.
You don't see many women represented when it comes to the decisions as to how to handle the pandemic.
Hello everyone. For those of you who haven't watched since the beginning of the summit, I'm Clothilde Goujard. I'm a tech reporter here at Politico. And I'm really happy to bring you this last interview to end our AI and Tech Summit today. We're really lucky to have Ivan Bartoš, the Czech Deputy Prime Minister for Digitization and Minister of Regional Development, with us today. Bartosz was one of the founders of the Czech Pirate Party in 2009 and has been the party's leader for several years. He was first elected to the Czech Parliament in 2017, and upon his re-election in 2021, he also joined the coalition government. Thank you for joining us today. Minister Bartosz, you've had an unusual career. You studied theology, but you also work in tech and telecom companies. Then you founded a political party, and now you're part of a government, and you're preparing for the Czech presidency of the council. So how have the past months been like for you?
So good afternoon to everyone who is listening, watching. You took that history quite briefly, but it was a long time for me joining university, and actually I finalized my PhD in information science in Charles University, and then we did Pirates, and the coalition that we joined before election was successful, but we got away the Czech government for 2 months before it was named by the president. So we just jumped into middle of the final COVID wave, at least for the season, and just jumped into preparing Czech Republic for the presidency that it's coming pretty soon. And I'm happy I got the responsibility in the government and also for the European vector for the questions of digitalization, thinking of cybersecurity, and not only the e-government agenda, but also that the relation that's between government, business, and NGOs.
We've seen you've already come to Brussels and met some of the commissioners, some other EU ministers. What has it been like, starting this cooperation?
I knew some of them from the previous time when we were in opposition, because I was chairman of the Committee for Regional Development and Public Administration in the Parliament. It was interesting being in a new position and dealing from the opposite, trying to find a way how to maybe a little bit polish the Czech reputation, considering few affairs of the previous government. But as far as I can say, it was always very constructive discussion. And of course, because there is a war, Putin's war in Ukraine, we were dealing with rather issues that maybe would come to the agenda later on, but it's always right now the change word after the Russia invasion to Ukraine. But I've got good relation with Commissioner Fechera. She's responsible for regional development, but also with General Director Viola, and we share common goals in many parts of the digitalization. And I'm quite happy what is the current path of European Union, and considering also the transatlantic renewal cooperation. So it was inspiring for me. I hope we're gonna do the good job.
We're a bit more than 2 months before the start of your presidency. Everyone here in Brussels is very impatient to know what your big priorities will be. Can you tell us a little bit more about your goals for telecom and tech?
So there is an obvious need and it's going through each of the department or area of looking closer to the security issues, to the resilience, to having fast working services, right? So it's something that's really needed to deal with now. But of course, there are several files that we need to work on when the French presidency is over. And I'm already talking to people from Sweden about it. And it is a question of a new technology. It's artificial intelligence. And last time when I heard a speech of Ms. von der Leyen, she said, okay, we've got our goals, we should not, step away or just like hold with them agendas. We shall focus on everything just to speed up, which is difficult because you've got long-term strategy and targets in the digital. There are many of them. It's EID, European Wallet, which is already helping the technology dealing with the Ukrainian crisis, for example, in Poland, right? With the registering people to the system. But there are also short-term needs, how to cooperate, considering, for example, sharing knowledge in cybersecurity, how to react to cyber attacks, which all of the countries are actually right now facing, especially those who are helping in refugee crisis and active on Ukrainian land.
This EID has been a big domestic priority in the Czech Republic. And as you said, this is going to be something that's important for you at the EU level. What will be your timeline here in Brussels? What do you want to achieve specifically?
There are two parts of it, right? One is the technological parts of the toolboxes, right? And those has to go the same speed as the other part of the EID file. So if everything goes okay, we might attempt on reaching the common position in the council. The thing is that, and I talked to General Director Viola on last meeting that he went to Prague when we were discussing the technology. There are many use cases that we can get pretty close to, let's say, reuse what we learned from the COVID pass technology, right? That are simple use cases for everyday life to get that idea closer to the people. But thinking of really, really strong and powerful EID within the European countries, where you can not just identify yourself online, but whatever, buy a factory or just start a business everywhere in Europe, there are many questions got to be solved of security, of how the data should be stored, what should be the unique identifier generated in specific purposes. So it seems from the scope of a COVID certificate, some of them were fake or it didn't work sometimes, so they don't let you, for example, in the restaurant, or they let you in the restaurant because, it just like malfunction. It could not happen in technology that could be so powerful. So this is a big thing. This is a big thing for Czech Republic. Even the Prime Minister, Petr Fiala, had this in his own priorities as a point 6, what we could achieve in digitalization, move further in the wallet with a unique identifier that can be used to solve many problems we've got right now, even when we travel as a European member country citizen. So this is a big thing. And we learned a lot during the COVID crisis about technologies, what is the benefits of using it, and sometimes what are the things that you have to care about. And I'm pretty happy with the approach of Europe that, and even Ms. Vestager talk about it very often, that now it's a customer, it's a citizen in the center. It's a citizen data, his identity. And from me, with my political background and with the party I'm representing here in the parliament, then in presidency, the position is neutral. You're trying to find the agreement of all the member states, right? But it's pretty close to me that there is a living person in the center. On the other hand, we have to try to find a balance between the approaching progress of the new technology and with the person in the center. We just don't want to over-regulate entire market. So we have to think very wisely about it. And I'm feeling that on a meeting with other ministers responsible for the digitalization within the European Union.
Some digital rights activists have expressed their worries that it could have a bad impact on privacy. How do you plan on assuaging these fears?
That's why there are those different categories, right? And there are we've got example of extreme abuse of the technology in China, right? Starting social scoring, having face recognition abused against its citizens. There are areas when the AI, already does in Finland. They've got 100 use cases where they are using AI positively to deal with the everyday issues of the person. So that's why even for the France, it's a hard job. We using DSA and DMA and those kind of files, we were trying to address something that we may say already happened, right? And we learned a lot from GDPR implementation. A lot of things we learned that we should do differently, but we were always dealing with something that that is actually on the market. That it's some phenomena that we either gave all the data not thinking about it, or we were just like overprotective and we cannot use the technology because we are not educated in the technology. With this AI technology, we are quite on the, let's say, just about this time to put rules in the place, not be surprised in the future, and just like we in Czech say, and it's idiomatic expression. I don't know if it's in each language, measure twice, cut once, which means you have to think properly, find the understand the issue, and I might say meeting my colleagues from other countries that they are in, that they know what are the benefits and optional threats, because we know the China example, and that's the way how we approach the topic. So board should be balanced, and the politician role is to actually find in each participant of the system, let's say, equal results of the process. It couldn't be equal always, right? But you are looking for, let's say, sustainable progress and growth. And when you count it on the very end, put a sum, it should then end up, this is equal, that you care of security, you care on the same way on the individual rights and the privacy of a person. But also, you can put the cool applications on the internet that are here for fun for people, or can solve, the issues that the human brain cannot, dealing with the cancer research or whatever prototyping processes. And we cannot imagine what are the areas that just a simple AI tool could save so much work of the person. And so technology is a tool which could be used wisely and shall not be abused. And we are Europe, right? We care about having things in balance.
On the AI Act, what sort of risky uses of AI would you want to either ban or further restrict?
There are buckles of the applications, and I'm feeling about things already. When we watch this story, it's called the Black Mirror, right? So the first series, maybe people who are watching us right now know the first series about the social scoring, about the girl did not get on the plane because she was yelling at the officer while buying a ticket. So let's think of those use cases, right? That it should not limit you in your everyday life, right? The data that you provide, got to be safe, secure. You should be completely aware if you are giving, if you agree with the terms of specific applications, that what does it mean. And it's not anything new, that it's actually in the digital world. When I'm giving lectures on the security, and I've got people who, let's say, are in one way overprotective or pretending there is in the internet, it's really tricky. And I ask them how many membership cards or shopping cards, the plastic cards you have, for just buying groceries or like going to the supermarket, right? And do you remember what you signed on the paper? What's done with the data of your, I don't know how much meat you buy, you know, and those data are basically used on profiling the customer, you know, adjusting the prices. And people agreed with that, you know, carrying the plastic card, you know, and thinking, you know, I'm protected, I'm not giving the data away. But in that contract that you signed with the supermarket, it's usually written, and I agree my data could be used for marketing purposes. And you can cover almost everything with the marketing purposes. So it's a huge topic. It's a huge topic. So we have to think of it that way. Let's see where we're gonna get, right? And I'm always talking about living in a balanced world.
But what about facial recognition, real-time biometric identification, as is proposed in the AI Act? What is your position on that specific issue?
We always had that call, especially when the war on terrorism started and on 9/11, as a tool to be used to fight the terrorism, right? And so from the defense point of view, on a security point of view, I feel that call reasonable, right? But then I'm asking what's done with the data after that, right? Not all the governments are trusted, you know. It's a tricky question. I would like to know when I'm giving my data away. I would like to know how my data is used. When I'm paying with my privacy for my security, I should be aware of that, you know, have a risk analysis. So all those things has to be taken in count, right? You see, there are very, very small differences between, let's pick up such a simple thing as a smile is. And the face gestures are different from nation to nation, right? There are some that, you know, in Czech, when you do like that with your head, that means no. There are nations when that means yes, right? And I'm not doing a gesture in the face. I'm just like moving my head. So applying that detailed, you know, things like working with the people emotions, it's got to be really, really balanced on it, you know. Just simple algorithms on the social media can, you know, turn down the government if it's, you know, used by the people who are not that friendly to the liberal democracy. So we have to think about it that way. And sometimes things are happening for the good reasons in the very beginning. And I watched the political development in Turkey, and I believe this is no way issue of Europe, right? So a lot of things implemented after 9/11, you know, we are fighting the terrorism, was then by the Erdogan regime actually abused about the liberal democratic oppositions, right? Just collecting the data from the social media led to people who are put in prison. So that's why I'm happy the issue is on the table of 27 countries, that we can put, you know, our experience, our background in it, and actually create environment that's progressive from the point of view technology, that has regulations on the place where it's supposed to be, and they are agreed, right? And again, as I'm saying, it's the role of our politicians to find a balance. From point of Czech Republic, by the time of our presidency, I'm pretty, with some agenda I'm dealing right now, that I know it's gonna be in time of the presidency. For example, considering the funding of solving refugee crisis, I'm already passing that agenda to the countries from Europe, because I know when we turn to the presidency, we have to be neutral, because our goal is to find a common agreement on the specific things. So as I'm moving towards that, you know, not going rather, you know, pointing a direction, but trying to listen much more. What are the voices of the countries, or not of like-minded countries, but all European countries, because then final deliverance would be applied in the entire European Union, right? And also we do have an open, after the change of administration in the US, I believe in better cooperation with the United States, with this transatlantic connection, with the data, with the services, which is kind of, at least after those years of Trump's presidency, it's something that's like reopened. And our US partners are often participating the meeting of the European leaders, obviously. So, and after the war in Ukraine, this cooperation would be probably much closer because many of us are also members of the NATO.
Right. There's actually there's a new data deal between the US and the EU that's being discussed. What did you think of the sharing of personal data between the US and Europe and this potential new deal?
We were discussing that while I was hosting in Prague 9+ countries. And there were also high-tech companies from the specific countries, and we remember what was the situation with the exchanging of data, considering the Facebook, right? And almost the data exchange in the safe harbor fell down. So we have to renew this dialogue, and if we want to cooperate, we have to respect each other. And from as far as I can say, and there was a US representative on that meeting, we are trying to find a common agreement. And obviously, the European approach is a little bit different than the US approach. When I went to Finland like 3 years ago, we were discussing that issue with some major people in the e-government, and they said, that the European role is specific. US were more open to, let's say, busting business, and that's why so many new technologies, were initiated in US. But the data were often like open to the business. Then there is an extreme of the China and Russia, when China surveillance, and all data to government. And we are Europe. We're trying to have a thing balance, and we want to have informed citizen, informed customers, what he is getting back for giving up his data as a trade. And obviously, if you are participating on a network such as Facebook is, Twitter is, using services for free, that means your data is the thing that is being cached in the business, and we understand it, right? That's environment that we live in for many years, and so we should try, the way how to meet in specific questions in order to cooperate and benefit from that cooperation. And having stressed on the data privacy, I think especially in the time when, we were never thinking of it could be easy to read someone's identity, but it's happening. We were never thinking, you can have mass phishing campaign, illegal campaign, to actually steal hundreds of accounts, right? So yeah, the data of the people should be kept safe. In many cases, the experience of security companies and antivirus and firewalls producers and programmers are much farther than the governmental experiences are in Europe, and I'm talking on the level of the individual country. So we've got a lot to learn in the cybersec. We've got a lot to share, right? So we're trying to open those ways. And I'm pretty happy with the Trade and Technology Council, and when the cooperation with the United States can run on that level, because it's important. And we are close together, right? We are democratic countries.
In the Czech Republic's government agreement that was released in January, it said you wanted to ensure the storage of personal data of Czech residents in secure data centers in the Czech Republic or in EU countries. Is that something you're going to push for? Will you push for data localization in the EU as the president of the council?
As a president of the council, I won't push them things, because again, I said that there is a time when you do politics, and there is a time when you are looking for common agreement. Even in Czech Republic, we are dealing with the cloud solutions, right? And there is on one way something that I would say commercial cloud with less strict rules when specific applications could be stored and a specific data could be stored. And we are building, let's say, e-government national cloud when there is a data that just cannot be anywhere on the cloud because you just need to control that data. And I think it could be the view. And I used to work in my working career for German company. We were a lot of things that we were dealing with the data when printing the final invoices for the services. We did few steps that wouldn't be needed, if we would say it doesn't matter where the data is calculated. And it strongly depends on the technology that's used. And it's again in place. We were talking about the 5G network, maybe 6G network, and what technology shall be used to that. And I can say from the top of a lot of technology that it's being delivered to the European market from my point of view, but from the security point of view, and experts on the field are not considered to be safe to use for the citizens, not for the government. And that's another thing, right? There is a cloud solution. It could be almost anywhere. What's the technology? What are the rules? We have to set up things. If you are talking on commercial cloud, right? What if there is an acquisition of one company to another company, and right now it's got different ownership? It's not like the thing that we can name all the issues during this short briefing or short interview.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. I think we've reached the end of this interview and the end of our summit today. I want to thank all of the speakers who joined us today and took the time to answer our questions and debate. Thank you to our audience as well, online and here in person. Thank you to my colleagues, all the journalists, and also our events team that organized this great summit. This summit was also possible because of our presenting partners, Google, IBM, and Workday. So they made this event possible. There were a lot of really interesting panels today. We had some great speakers like Margrethe Vestager, Didier Reinders, who came from the Commission. We spoke about the AI Act and saw the different approaches and the oppositions between the different lawmakers. We were able to speak a little bit about Pegasus and the surveillance, and apparently Margrethe Vestager kind of downplayed this threat of being spied on. However, she was on a whole different topic. She was pretty confident about reaching a deal on the Digital Services Act tomorrow. So that's something that we will all be looking forward to. We touched on so many other different topics, the twin transition, tech, and the environment. We talked about algorithms, cybersecurity, and the Data Act. So it's been a very full and very interesting day. So as for what's next, we will see you next time in about a year for the next AI and Tech Summit. The political team that's in charge of it hasn't decided on the date yet, but it will announce the date shortly on the website, so stay tuned. Thank you again, and have a lovely evening.
This is an age of disruption, of profound revolutionary change.
What we're really asking ministers is to empower the ambassadors.
The only thing that you really push forth is the truth.
You don't see many women represented when it comes to the decisions as to how to handle the pandemic.